Forget the slaves. The pyramids weren't built by whips. They were built by wet sand. The Great Pyramid of Giza, 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing between 2 and 80 tons. How did the ancient Egyptians move them? Hollywood says slaves, whips, chains, blood. The Bible says slaves. But archaeology says something else, something smarter. The workers were not slaves. They were paid laborers, skilled craftsmen. They ate well: beef, bread, beer. Their graves have been found near the pyramids. They were buried with honor. Slaves don't get honor. So how did they move 80-ton stones without modern machines? The answer is wet sand. For decades, Egyptologists assumed workers pulled sledges over dry sand. But dry sand piles up in front of the sledge, creates a wall, huge friction, impossible for heavy loads. Then a Dutch team tested a different theory: wet sand. Here's what they found. When you wet desert sand, it becomes twice as stiff. The sledges glide instead of digging in. A worker discovered this 4,000 years ago. One painting from an Egyptian tomb shows a worker pouring water on the sand in front of a moving sledge. The evidence was always there. We just missed it. Experiments proved it. Wet sand reduces the force needed by 50%. Half the workers, double the speed. No slaves required. But water was precious. How did they get enough? The Nile flooded every year. Canals were dug right to the pyramid site. Workers poured water from clay pots, just enough to dampen the sand, not flood it. Precision engineering. What about the 80-ton granite stones? Those came from Aswan, 500 miles away. They were moved by boat during the flood season. The Nile did the heavy lifting. Once at Giza, wet sand sledges took over. The Greeks wrote that slaves built the pyramids. The Greeks were wrong. They assumed their own slave-based society was how everyone worked. Modern archaeology corrected the record. The pyramid builders were not broken prisoners. They were farmers who worked during the Nile flood when fields were underwater. They were paid. They were fed. They were proud. Their graffiti is still inside the pyramids. Friends of Khufu, drunkards of Menkaure, names, jokes, human beings. So forget the whips. The pyramids were built by wet sand, the Nile, and skilled workers who knew exactly what they were doing. Not slaves. Engineers.